and Director General Indian Council of Medical Research. On behalf of the Secretary, Department of Health Research and Director General Indian Council of Medical Research, I have the profound privilege to welcome the Honorable Union Minister of Health and Family Welfare, Dr. Vardhan, senior officials from ICMR and Department of Health Research, directors of the ICMR Institute who are connected virtually with us today, Dr. N.B. Padma Srivastava, the head of CN Center AIMS, Dr. Rohit Bhatia from CN Center, New Delhi, and my fellow colleagues. I welcome you all on this occasion today. Honorable HFM sir has just released the ICMR timeline, and now we will move to the next part of the program. I hereby request Professor Balram Bhargava to kindly welcome our Honorable Chief Guest and also address the audience.
Thank you. Honorable and beloved Health Minister, Dr. Vardhan, the directors of all the institutes, the Deputy Director General of ICMR, the Finance Advisor, the heads of all the divisions. It is a pleasure to welcome our beloved Health Minister Dr. Vardhan to this somber ceremony. We thank him for releasing the ICMR timeline, which is been just inaugurated, and we will, during this COVID times, first of all like to congratulate all the institutes, all the directors of the institutes, all the scientists of institutes for having worked tirelessly 24/7 for the last so many months in fighting this COVID pandemic. I would also like to request the Minister today to help us inaugurate some of the non-COVID activity also. We have the Ocean Month this month. The month of September has been declared as the Ocean Month by the Prime Minister of India. So we will have several releases from the National Institute of Nutrition, which has celebrated more than 100 years. And we have the Director of the National Institute of Nutrition, Dr. Hemlata here. We will also have the launch of the mobile stroke unit, which is a unique idea which the Health Minister had proposed about 2 years back, and then we have been able to, actually about a year and a half back, and we have been able to get the mobile stroke unit in Assam, which has the highest prevalence of hypertension and strokes. And this is a mobile CT scanner which is available, which has been helped tremendously by the All India Institute of Medical Sciences and Christian Medical College, Ludhiana. And we have Dr. Padma, the head of the CN Center and Neurology Department here, along with Dr. Rohit Bhatia. Thank you so much for coming. We will also be launching the COVID vaccine portal, because much of the activity now is about vaccine, and when do we get the vaccine? The whole world wants to know, the whole country wants to know, and therefore this very simple vaccine website of ICMR will talk about all the available vaccines that have been available for various diseases and how ICMR has contributed to its development, including patenting, including field deployment, as well as the vaccines which are being tested for COVID-19 and the status of the Indian COVID-19 vaccines also. Following which we have the final point of the COVID registry, which is the registry of all the hospitals that are willing to participate in the national COVID registry, with 15 mentor institutions across India, north, south, east, west, and the central zone. And these mentor institutes are all institutes of national importance, the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, the Postgraduate Institute Chandigarh, Jipmar Pondicherry, Sri Chitra Institute, Nigrims in Assam, and all these institutes are acting as mentor institutes, and they have been able to collect and connect different hospitals who are getting COVID-admitted patients to be part of this registry, because questions like reinfections, questions like repeated infection, weaning of antibodies, all these will be answered by this registry. So I thank you so much, sir, for taking out time from your busy schedule and personally coming here, and we would be grateful that you would launch these.
Thank you very much, sir. The overarching scheme for holistic nutrition, that is Poshan Abhiyan, was launched by the Honorable Prime Minister of India in 2018 with a vision to address malnutrition in a targeted approach. And as sir has just said, that the month of September is observed as Poshan Month, that is Nutrition Month every year. We also know that National Institute of Nutrition, Hyderabad, the first ICMR institute, celebrated its centenary year in 2018. As a part of the year-long celebrations, the NIN Centenary Commemorative Stamp was released by the Honorable HSM Sir last year in October here at ICMR only. Sir, it's another momentous occasion for us that the documents prepared by NIN are being released today. But before that, we shall be playing a small video about the National Institute of Nutrition and its contributions.
The National Institute of Nutrition under the Indian Council of Medical Research (ICMR) has, since its inception 100 years ago in 1918, been at the forefront of nutrition research, contributing to a healthier and stronger India. Celebrating its centenary year, the National Institute of Nutrition was founded by Sir Robert McCallison in 1918. Through its contribution to research, policy, public health programs and regulation, NIN strives to enable food and nutrition security to promote good health, growth, development and increased productivity of people. Today, NIN is a globally renowned entity in nutrition sciences that conducts problem-oriented research to provide scientific solutions to nutrition problems that confront the country. NIN designed and implemented several national-level supplementary nutrition programs. These include the distribution of iron folic acid tablets to pregnant women, the administration of vitamin A doses for children, the production and quality control of double fortified salt, and a database of nutritive values of about 500 foods commonly consumed across the country. NIN formulates recommended dietary allowances for Indians and suggests the dietary guidelines for people of different age and physiological groups. NIN supports national and state governments through surveillance, evaluation and monitoring. NIN also acts in an advisory role to national bodies like the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, Codex India, the Ministry of Women and Child Development, and the Bureau of Indian Standards. The Institute is recognized by many national and international agencies as a leading center for advanced training in nutrition. NIN maintains its international standards with state-of-the-art facilities and expertise. National Institute of Nutrition, NIN, empowering the nation through nutrition. ICMR NIN is changing the nutrition landscape of the country rapidly to help India achieve the national nutrition goals. Because we understand nutrition is the key to a healthy India.
May I request the Honorable Chief Guest, ED Sir, to kindly move towards the dais, sir, if it's possible, and do the honors of releasing the documents. I request Dr. Hemlata, Director NIN, to please join the documents. The first NIN document is the mapping of nutrition and health status, a national level participatory real-time data generation program. This program aims to collect data on dietary intake and health status on a real-time basis through mobile applications linked to the NIN central servers. This innovative endeavor of ICMR NIN is the first of its kind and would be useful in the present scenario that is complicated by COVID-19 pandemic, and it can be extended for generation of data in the future as well. May I request our Honorable Chief Guest to kindly do the honors and release the documents. that NIN has been the nodal agency for recommending the dietary allowances and nutrient requirements for Indians. The recommended dietary allowances are revisited and revised from time to time in view of the changing food habits, physical activity patterns, nutrition transition and health status of various groups. The latest version of the NIN document called the Nutrient Requirements for Indians for the first time includes the estimated average requirements and also the tolerable upper limits of nutrients alongside the recommended dietary allowances. These recommendations are the basis for defining the nutrient levels in policies and programs. May I request you, sir, to kindly release the NIN document on nutrient requirements for Indians. The 100-Year History of ICMR NIN is a book that depicts the 100-year-long journey of NIN from its modest beginnings in Kannur, Tamil Nadu in 1918 as a very, very inquiry unit to the colossus of an institute that it is today. This book commemorates and highlights the illustrious history and achievements of the institute. The next document prepared by NIN, What India Eats, reports the dietary patterns across the country, and for the first time the data has been analyzed and projected based on food groups. This report gives details of regional dietary pattern of Indian population with energy and protein sources from different food groups in a graphical form. May I request sir to please kindly release the NIN report. Thank you very much, sir. May I please request you to Thank you, sir. The prevalence of hypertension is a major risk factor of stroke, and it has been reported to be high in the indigenous Assamese population and tea garden workers. In view of this large burden of stroke and absence of stroke care facilities in the hand, a model for stroke care pathway utilizing the mobile stroke unit in Tejpur in Assam has been established by ICMR, and another one is being established at Assam Medical College, Dibrugarh. We have the principals of Tejpur and Assam Medical Colleges, Deputy Commissioner of Tejpur and additional Deputy Commissioner Dibrugarh, along with Dr. Professor Gauri Devi, eminent neurologist and ex-Vice Chancellor, NIMHANS Bangalore, connected with us today virtually. May I request the Honorable HFM to formally inaugurate the mobile stroke unit by taking that. We shall now be playing a small video clip regarding the stroke and its perspectives and the care pathway established in the Northeast region.
stroke is a major cause of death and disability. It occurs when a clot stops the blood flow to the brain, known as ischemic stroke, or a hemorrhagic stroke when artery bleeds, causing the brain cells to die. We lose about 30,000 brain cells in a second after a stroke. With stroke, every minute counts.
Here at Baptist Christian Hospital and Tezpur Medical College, we have India's second mobile stroke unit. This project is funded by the Indian Council of Medical Research, ICMR, and aims at establishing care pathway for acute stroke using a mobile stroke unit. The uniqueness of the mobile stroke unit is that it is an ambulance equipped with a CT scan machine, portable laboratory equipment, and facilities for telemedicine communication with specialists.
Research has shown that in Assam, 1/3 of population and 2/3 of tea tribes suffer hypertension. Untreated hypertension leads to stroke. Other risk factors include diabetes, high salt intake, and tobacco consumption. Some of the early signs and symptoms of stroke are drooping of face, sudden onset weakness of arms and legs, especially on one side, slurring of speech, sudden onset severe headache, giddiness with inability to see or communicate properly.
Once we receive a call on a toll-free number from a patient experiencing stroke-like symptoms, the ambulance gets dispatched immediately. Paramedics in the mobile stroke unit assess the patient, connect them to monitors, start IV lines, and draw blood samples. After the CT scan is done, they communicate to the physician through teleconferencing.
Sir, this is a 50 years old gentleman with right-sided weakness since 9 a.m.
Through telemedicine, we see the patient in the ambulance and make their assessment. If treatment is required, it is done in the vehicle. We are assisted by a team of neurologists from CMC Ludhiana and AIMS New Delhi. Evidence shows that intravenous TPA, a clot dissolving medication, can be used to we significantly reduce the time to therapy by bringing everything to the patient.
The mobile stroke unit gets the identified patient to the hospital where further treatment of acute stroke is continued. This saves lives and reduces disability after a stroke. We aim to provide this type of care in the surrounding community so that stroke can be identified, diagnosed, and treated much sooner. Indian Council of Medical Research, in partnership with Baptist Christian Hospital and Tezpur Medical College, aims to create a difference in the stroke care through the Mobile Stroke Unit project.
Am I audible?
Now we will have a virtual tour into the mobile stroke unit, which is a state-of-the-art facility. We'll be connecting at Tezpur.
Good morning, everyone. Honorable Health Minister Dr. Vardhan, Director General of ICMR, and all other dignitaries. Greetings from the mobile stroke unit at Tezpur Medical College and Baptist Christian Hospital. At the outset, I would like to express my sincere gratitude towards all health workers for their selfless work towards humanity during this tough COVID-2 pandemic. Myself, Dr. Deven Rasta, co-investigator in this project, I'll be taking you through a virtual tour of this MSU here at Tezpur. You can see in the background the MSU here. This is an ambulance that is unique with having a CT scan machine and an IC facility on board. This ambulance has two entries to it. The rear entry, through which the patients are taken into the ambulance. That's an automatic lift which helps in taking the patient into the ambulance. Through the side entry, the paramedics enter into the ambulance. Let me show the interior facility of the ambulance. Here you can see the CT scan machine, which is essentially the heart of this MSU. This machine helps us to take CT scan brain of patients in a remote village or by roadside when we respond to a stroke call. Once the images are taken, the images are sent to a server through the computer here, from which the doctors can access the image through internet facility. This ambulance also has basic life support equipment, also cardiac monitoring during the transfer. Coming to the telescope part of this ambulance, it happens through the tablet mounted on the top of the vehicle, through which the neurologist can directly interact with the patient, clinically assess them, and help in decision making. This ambulance also has medication, including thrombolytic medication, which is used in time-sensitive ischemic strokes, thereby reducing the door-to-needle time. Once the pre-hospital treatment is done, the patients are safely transferred to the stroke unit at Doctor Christian Hospital and Statesboro Medical College, where the further comprehensive stroke care is continued. Thank you. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. We will now be connecting with the teleconsultation site at CMC Ludhiana. Professor Jairaj Pandyan will be connecting with us.
Good afternoon. I sincerely thank our Honorable Union Health Minister, Dr. Vardhan, and Director General of ICMR, Dr. Vardhan, for initiating this innovative project and for providing me an opportunity to lead this new endeavor. Using this MSU, we intend to establish a stroke care pathway in Statesboro where there are no neurologists available. The MSU will be stationed in CHC and PHC, and stroke patients will undergo rapid clinical evaluation and CT scan will be done. The neurologist in CMC Ludhiana and AIMS, New Delhi, will connect with the MSU using telemedicine facility which is present in the MSU and guide them in stroke treatment, especially in decision making regarding thrombolytic treatment within the golden hour of 4.5 hours. We are hopeful to install another MSU in Dibrugarh by March next year. Once the feasibility of this model is established, this project will be scaled up to other regions of the country. On behalf of the MSU project team, I once again express my gratitude to our Honorable Union Health Minister and Director General of ICMR for their full support and encouragement. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pandyan. Vaccine discovery and its use is a continuously evolving field of science. In the face of the current pandemic of COVID-19, vaccines have become a common topic of interest and discussion for all. ICMR has developed a vaccine portal linked to its website, which is a resource center for the masses to gain updated knowledge regarding the common vaccines available currently. May I request the Honorable HFM to kindly launch the COVID-19 vaccine portal. There are separate pages for the commonly used vaccines such as BCG, polio, MMR, hepatitis, etc., hepatitis B, etc. We will take a short glimpse of the success story of polio eradication in India. For those who want and are interested in further details, there are accessible links to the phenomenal work carried out by ICMR in the field of COVID-19. We'll just go through some of the papers which have been published. Interestingly, there is a page with a number of frequently asked questions answered in multiple languages, as we can see on the left-hand side, which clarifies various doubts, such as some of the examples we given here. Recently, ICMR organized and co-hosted an international symposium. The proceedings of the symposium is available on the web portal. We have a glimpse of it, and there's a brief video on Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, meaning whole world is one family.
Still, as we move forward, additional sites outside of the United States, depending on the course of the pandemic, will be utilized. Another mRNA candidate from the company Pfizer, for which Operation Warp Speed has issued an advanced purchase agreement, entered a phase 2/3 again on Monday. So things are moving along. We have several specific steps to assure the discovery and development of a safe and effective vaccines. And this is pursued in a way in which we move as rapidly as possible without ever compromising safety or science. So very briefly, first, we've made it clear that all studies will be executed at the regulatory standard, with all the required ethical review and oversight, with engagement of the community right from the beginning, and with strong data and safety monitoring boards that are actively involved in the study. We hope that others who are supporting COVID-19 vaccine trials will also ensure that their trials are executed with sufficient rigor.
Why say one is a relative and the other a stranger? Indeed, the entire world is one family. These are the words engraved at the entrance of India's parliament. What we are going through affects us all. But it also brings us together. We will keep doing all we can. Together we shall overcome. Because that is what families do.
This web portal will be updated regularly to keep the public and scientific community, both at national and international level, abreast of the current developments in the field of vaccines, especially the COVID-19 vaccines. There is a pressing need for collection of systemic data on clinical signs and symptoms, laboratory investigations, management protocols, clinical course of COVID-19 disease and its spectrum. In view of this, the National Clinical Registry of COVID-19 has been developed under the aegis of the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, ICMR, and the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi. This registry will be collecting data in an electronic and mechanical form, developed and maintained by the ICMR, NIMS, regarding the clinical and laboratory features, treatment, and outcome of hospitalized COVID-19 patients in 50 hospitals across the country. The good quality, real-time clinical data on COVID-19 collected from this registry will serve as an invaluable tool to inform evidence-based clinical practice, research, formulating guidelines and policy making. I hereby request the Honorable Chairman to kindly launch the National Clinical Registry for COVID-19. chief guest. May I now request you, sir, to kindly place this occasion by addressing the audience.
Balram Bhargav, DG ICMR, and also to be part of this very important function, which should go down in history as a historic one, because for the first time you have recorded history of ICMR in a very sophisticated and, I would say, modern way. And this is something which probably when I was looking at that history being depicted in just a portion of a wall of the institution, I thought every institution should have similar activities done, because when I visit the science labs and other departments, which in the last 6 years I have visited so many all across the country, every institution has a very glorious history. But not many people know about it. Unless somebody is inquisitive about it and somebody has his interest in history, people come and go, but they really don't know that who and how contributed to this present stage when we are leading from the front. So let me congratulate you, because it's a very history of more than 100 years. I had the privilege to be here in other functions also. Had the privilege to honor many scientists and remember many scientists of the past history also. So first of all, let me pay my heartfelt tribute to the memory of all those who have contributed in the big way to the growth story of ICMR. It may not be possible to remember them individually. All of us, I think, would also join me in paying our tributes to their memory. Whatever inaugurations and activities that have been proposed today and that have been done, I think they are all very, very important. If I start with NIN, which has a long history, again more than 100 years, and then so many stages of when these deficiency diseases and beriberi and so many places where we have had new achievements added. I personally have a very huge amount of respect for the work that NIN has also done. When I was neither the Minister of India, but 20 years back, in 2000, I had the privilege to attend a function in NIN campus. The function was not related to NIN, but it was inside the NIN campus, and it was a keynote address that I had delivered there in that campus about the health vision for the 21st century in presence of the then Union Health Minister, Dr. C.P. Thakur. that was the first time I had entered the NIN campus. And when I had finished with the function and I realized that it was such a brilliant and historic place, so although I was not even invited for the NIN activities, the campus was used for that function, which that was a function for the scientists and the doctors of South India. So I had on my own, I think Dr. Himlata was not there as a director at that time, but she was there. And I spent almost the whole day after the function at the NIN campus and studied so many things from closer quarters, and I could appreciate that extraordinary work has been done there in the last 50-60 years after independence, but not much of it is known to the country, not much of it is being utilized by the country, and that was my feeling 20 years back. And 20 years down the line, I can appreciate that the way we have progressed in last 20 years, I think more than 100 times work must have been done in these 20 years. In the during the last year also, 2019, when I had visited another science laboratory across the road, I made it a point to visit NIN for some time, and then had a meeting with your scientists, informal meeting. That was not an official visit. Then again I could appreciate that this is something which needs to be reworked at, in the sense that whatever is being done here, it has to go to the masses, it has to go to the people, because I strongly believe that if we can take care of two issues in the country, right nutrition for the people and right lifestyle habits about physical activity and all, we can actually take care of the major part of the health. And of course then aided by many other factors like quality water, good quality sanitation, good quality air, environment, all those things. But these two things are very, very basic: nutrition and physical activity. And right now, the publications that you have made, the research that you have done, the studies that you have done about the dietary habits and all the nutritional values of various foods and regional, you can say, studies. I don't want to get into the details of what those things are. I had a preview of all that. I feel that a strategy has to be planned whereby we can actually ensure that whatever good work has been done and whatever the outcomes of that research are, they are in some manner or the other, by making a good quality public health movement, we are able to ensure that they are delivered to the people of India, and they are able to appreciate it, because still most of the lot of diseases in this country are because of bad nutrition or bad food habits, all these junk foods and so many things, and especially our younger people, the way they are spoiling their health because of that. And with the science around nutrition, you can produce a lot of tasty food also with very good quality nutritional values also, and which can actually start eliminating the diseases from a human body. I have studied this aspect also very, very closely, and I feel that there is so much of huge potential in this. So that's why, in fact, in the health ministry also, in the last 1.5 years or so, I tried to focus the attention of FSSAI on the Eat Right India movement. And you will be happy to know that in the Eat Right India movement, the FSSAI has been recognized for an international award also for consideration So this is where I feel on one hand we have FSSAI, where movements like Eat Right India can grow, and of course they have the whole control about how the foods in the society can be regulated and in fact monitored. And then on the other side there is already a Fit India movement which is growing, which is also one of the passionate subjects of the Prime Minister also. And then there is, to add to this, the Poshan Abhiyan, the National Nutrition Mission. It has also started working for the last 2-3 years, whereby this is not like a routine symbolic activity. We do a National Nutrition Day or a Nutrition Week or a Poshan Ma. This is something which has to be preached, practiced, and in fact developed every moment of our life. So there is a very strong scope. In fact, myself and the Women and Child Development Minister, Mrs. Smriti Irani, we are writing a joint letter to all the chief ministers and all the health ministers to see how best we can utilize the country's potential to address these issues related to Poshan, and there for the scientific knowledge, technical backing, practical knowledge, all those issues, NIN should be the backbone. I personally feel that all our academic bodies, they should come out of their shell. They can't be only producing papers and documents. They have to the society. Their public outreach has to be super, and they have to be part of the health movement now. So ICMR, NIN, FSSAI with the Eat Right India movement, then the Ministry of Youth and Sports with the Fit India movement, and then of course the Ministry of Women and Child with the Poshan Abhiyan and the issues like anemia and all, which are taken care of by the Health Ministry also. And to add to this, a quality addition to this is the contribution from the Ayush Ministry, where they have ensured that things like yoga and other lifestyle activities, they are not only on paper, they have brought them outside research domain into public, and now it's millions of people all over the world are. So I would consider this meeting as successful, and if we can really enlarge the scope of our working and our vision, and this will contribute very, very significantly, because the country cannot afford to still talk about malnutrition. It's now 70 years. So we must have a very dynamic target, that when the Prime Minister is dreaming about delivering a new India to all Indians by 2022, when he wants that every child should have adequate health facilities, adequate care for education, adequate you can say care for nutrition, and when he wants everybody to have the smile back on his or her face, I think we are the major players, whether it is the people in the health sector or whether it is the people in the science sector. We have to play a major role in ensuring that dream is realized. And all these issues like personally I feel that why should there be anemia? What is the rocket science in handling anemia? What is the rocket science in handling malnutrition? There's so much of work that has been done over the years. It is only that the outcomes of the good work that has been done, we have not been able to deliver them, or maybe use them in the right perspective, in the right manner, with the right people, and have not been able to monitor the progress. Otherwise, it is not big, nothing big about it. There is no rocket science. Like we say that there is no rocket science involved in handling COVID. If you handle the four small things, you can handle COVID. Those who have handled it well, they have been able to keep themselves away from COVID for 9 months. Otherwise, those who could not even take care of the basics, they got the COVID also. So, this is about the nutrition. I think I must congratulate the National Institute of Nutrition. And I would love NIN now to be seen more and more outside in the country. Not that you are not outside in the country, all your research is because you have gone outside the country, but now the focus for next 2 years, I personally feel from 2021 and 22, should be on ensuring that whatever you have done in the last 73 years, each and everything, how do we take it to the people? And for this, there has to be a very active collaboration and synergy between at least minimum these organizations. Of course, there are many other issues, as I mentioned, water and all, they all help. Good quality potable water, if you can provide to everyone, it helps in the health scenario. Sanitation movement is already there. There is a movement for housing is there. There is a movement for clean air. There is a national clean adding. But these are the basics which people have to do themselves. Physical activity and nutrition. This is something which we have to promote. We have to motivate. We have to educate. And we have to monitor. And if we can teach and educate people in the right manner, everybody wants to be healthy. Everybody wants to have good food. We have to just strategize. That's what I personally feel about the whole subject. Then, of course, I'm so happy that we have this stroke mobile unit, and Dr. Padma and Dr. Bhatia, they are also here. This is something unique. I didn't know that in Northeast we have this high level of stroke cases. To the extent it was mentioned, something like 2/3 of the population is prone,
Hypertension,
and 2/3 is hypertension, and 1/3 are prone to stroke.
No, 1/3 in the population and 2/3 of tea workers are having.
But that also is a very, very huge number.
Very high.
Means it is beyond, I think, at least my imagination, that 1/3 is a very, 2/3 is also a very big data. So that's a great experiment with and of course we can work on it, and then we see how we replicate similar exercises, how we improve upon these exercises, and how others can also emulate. So I would congratulate neurology department of AIMS, and then it is another Ludhiana, CMC Ludhiana also, who are going to help through telemedicine and other mechanisms, people in the field, and more particularly in the Northeast. So we need to congratulate our friends in Assam and Tejpur also, who were there on the video and who described us and who took us to that visit inside the. We had similar experiments about labs around COVID also, and mobile health is a well-established thing now in the country. 25 years back, I used to see that in a big way in the Delhi itself. But that was the basic, a doctor and a few people to help, a CATS ambulance. But now these are all getting magnified and scaled up in terms of quality and everything. So that's a great idea. Must everybody deserves appreciation and congratulations. Then of course the vaccine portal is, I think, something which I personally feel would have the maximum hits, because my experience of last couple of months is that everybody in the society, wherever I go, in whatever type of settings or wherever I talk, whether I am talking to anybody on the phone or in any way, everybody has so much of queries and inquisitive, and everyone is so desperately waiting for a vaccine, at least against COVID now, that and then because the information it's a dynamic information, it keeps changing every day. So I would suggest that we should make this vaccine web portal very, very informative, and then we should in the search for, normally when the other vaccines are searched, maybe we are having a research on dengue vaccine for so many years, you tried for HIV and all, but COVID is something in last 73 years which is being watched so closely by everybody. And even the illiterate people, they also talk about something like, what is this phase 1 trial, what is this phase 2, what is this phase 3, because these terms have become so common. Earlier they were common amongst the medical fraternity or those who are involved in this research. But now the people are also knowing. So I think, I don't know, I have not studied the portal as on today, but we should describe all these things in simple language in detail. What is a vaccine? What is vaccine development? How do we develop it? And what is clinical trial? What is trial in an animal? What is a trial in a human being? What is phase 2? What is phase 3? Like yesterday somebody asked me that question in my Sunday Samvad, that will one vaccine be, you can say, adequate to deal with people of various ethnic regions? We have so much of diversity in the country. So I have to tell them that this phase 3 involves thousands of people, and these people are from various regions, various ethnic cultures and all those things. So all these things, I think, if we can really describe, so that for once, at least the major chunk of India who has, right now everybody has interest in vaccine development. So this is a sort of a blessing in disguise, that we shall be able to teach our country about how do we actually produce a vaccine, how do we search for a vaccine, and how do we develop a vaccine. And everybody will take a lot of interest. Plus, I would also suggest, I don't know whether that is there or not, all the, number one, the vaccines which are already there, there are many in the vaccine, our universal immunization program. There are a couple of vaccines which are not in the universal immunization program, but the vaccines are well established. People can take those vaccines. So we could really put that these are other vaccines also. These are required for maybe selectively people if they want. Plus there are many vaccines. Like I know, I have been hearing about the dengue vaccine for many, many years. And every time we say that it's almost nearing completion. But the actual status of all other vaccines, whether it is related to tuberculosis or if something is happening on malaria or wherever, we should put the status there so that people can have access to everything, and everything is written in a transparent manner, that this vaccine trial started here, this time, such and such things have happened. We are likely results of that. And then of course the frequently asked questions right now, which are being worked out by the committee headed by Dr. Paul, about how do we give it to the people? Who are the people who shall be given the vaccine? Will it be given to the whole country? So many people ask all these things. So I think this, I'm sure your portal, vaccine portal, will become the most popular portal right now. And then the last thing that you have done is this National Clinical Registry. This is also very, very important. So many new issues are emerging, so many cases of reinfection are emerging, and people have a lot of, concern and apprehensions about those issues. Then, of course, so many drugs that you have used, whether some drugs have been used as an emergency authorization or some have been used regularly, then what is happening? There was a hype for plasma at one point of time. There was a hype for remdesivir, so that it has been used, I think, is not judiciously now. Everybody who goes to hospital, people think that let us start with remdesivir, because otherwise he might go into a cytokine storm and all. So all those things, whatever is the exact status, like for plasma you have done 452 patients, what are the exact results? So that everything is written there in a transparent manner. You go to the site, you read what is there. And then of course this story about how we could, that is something which is being lauded by everyone, that from a place, one place where we could have this virus tested, we now have over 1,830 places in private and public sector. Then how from the time when the swab used to be sent to this National Center for Disease Control in this Atlanta and all, CDC, Center for Disease Control, not our NCDC. So from that time till today, at least for this particular virus. And then how we created these, it was during the lockdown, it was difficult. There were no vehicles, there was no system. And then to create these facilities, send all the equipment, send all the kits, and send all the various other things that you had to for creation of those labs. I think that is also one story that should be written in a very nice manner. And from the time when everybody in this country used to shout at us, saying, why are you doing so little number of tests? Tests used to be shouted by people on every television channel. And today, this week we did 15 lakh tests, 13 lakh tests, 12 lakh tests, 14 lakh tests. That is something I think all this story has to come on this clinical registry. And of course there are so many other things, how the story about getting these indigenous kits now, producing 10 lakh kits a day, reducing the prices, no longer dependent on importing things from China and other countries. We are in a position to export. I think this is the best place where you could put all these. I think we should for every aspect of the COVID fight story, you should put, I think, assign the responsibility to different people so that they can write great it. Because everybody hears every day from 1 to 1839, but what were the bottlenecks in going from there to there, and how those bottlenecks were taken care of, how we drove smoothly on that road to success in spite of all those difficulties. That is something which will be worth knowing, because people may not know that you have created a regional depot, you have created a depot in every state to deliver things, how it was done during the lockdown, and how our journey has not stopped even at this point. How we promised that by 31st May we will go to 1 lakh, but we reached there only on 10th of May. How we promised we will go to 1 million in a 12 weeks time, but we went there, achieved that goal within 4 weeks. So all this has to come on record. Once, if COVID is over, then you may not have the most people member now. So they have to be all put on record. I think this is what I thought, my thoughts about what has been done today. ICMR, we know it's a very, very prestigious, and then long you have a glorious history. We have to appreciate everybody's contribution, and we all feel proud of your achievements, and we also remember people like Dr. Ganga Khetkar, who are so doctor अपनी वो आज she's not there, अपनी जो लैब वाली
I think gone for a VC.
She's not there.
Delhi government.
She's not there. But anyway, not to name any particular. I've seen many of you in my meeting, but I have not seen many of you because you were all working behind the scenes. So it has all happened in a. Everyone has contributed in a big way. It's a total government approach, to society approach. And I think with a little more persuasion and perseverance, we should be able to handle COVID in this year itself. Only to further strengthen this preventive aspect amongst the IT members. So whatever best possible we should do, already do. I'm sorry I had to come for this function on 7th, but for personal reasons I couldn't. I had to postpone that function. So, but I'm happy that function has taken place now. So I want to see NIN more and more inside in the field now.
1 minute.
Yes.
So we have developed 14 e-learning modules for the underage to learn about of nutrition for young children, nutrition in pregnancy, and overall nutrition. Like 14 different modules to show nutrition, physical. It will be important. Now that message is those films are there in Hindi.
Don't require noise to produce the speech. Don't worry.
Now we are going to convert it into different languages.
Good.
I mean,
This is what I am saying, that whatever we have done in the last 3 years, we now need to people of India.
Of its kind. This is for the undereducated. It's not only for the educated.
So, sir, thank you so much. I think
I would now request Dr. Samina Chanda, head of the Division of Epidemiology and Communicable Diseases, to kindly present the documents.
Thank you, Dr. Sindhu. This is the time which reminds me that every good thing has to come to an end at some point in time, but I don't think that it's an end, it's actually beginning towards the journey which would be immensely guided by your thoughts and the directions that you have provided, sir. I take this opportunity to convey thanks to the Honorable Union Health Minister, Dr. Harshvardhan ji. While I was watching the films, there were moments I had goosebumps. And also while you said, sir, that it is not only ICMR as headquarters and the achievements, but every institute should have this kind of timeline. You reminded me, sir, of Rabindranath Tagore, who said that if one limb of a body develops, that's not the total growth. We are talking about growth and nutrition here, so that the growth and nutrition in totality will happen when each and every institute will grow. And we have those, but probably we have not documented them well. So we'll follow your advice, sir, and we'll try and encourage under the able leadership of Professor Dr. Vardhan. So I take this opportunity to thank you, sir. Under your leadership, the institution is growing and gaining great strength and speed. You did highlight, sir, about reaching out to people. And it is not possible by any one or two persons. So we have had a fantastic team here. I would particularly say that in the time of COVID, we could reach out to different states and people, but it would not have been possible without the help of persons like Senior DDG, Dr. G.S. Jangar, and our Senior Financial Advisor, Mr. Rajiv Roy. Without them, it would not have been possible at all. So I thank you, take this opportunity to thank you all for this. You did say that we should be able to articulate what we are doing in a language that people understand. And nothing could be more important because it's people's money that we use for do the research. And you highlighted the need for implementation science. And that implementation we would be able to do with the help of all the divisional heads of ICMR. So I take this opportunity to thank you, all of you, for being party to this and joining hands. Again, we have our presence in different states in the form of institutions, and I take this opportunity to thank the directors of each of those institutes. All these things, you need a thread to prepare a garland, and Dr. Harpreet Sandhu was the rapporteur, the anchor, who actually had the flowers woven together with the help of threads. So I especially thank you for anchoring this session. In addition to the people who are not at the front of the curtain but behind the screen, or everybody who helped us to organize this and getting the things together, the small video clippings, and so that a story. But I completely agree, sir, with you that many of the stories are there which are worth telling but have remained untold. So we will strive towards it, because India has achieved a lot, but that has not been articulated well. So we need to be able to tell our stories. So I am really thankful, sir, to you for coming. And if we cannot tell our story simply, probably we have not understood things well. That's what was told by Einstein. He said very clearly that if we are not able to say what we are doing, probably we ourselves have not understood. So it is better not only to internalize, but also try articulate it. So thank you once again. I thank everybody here who are in this room and outside, connected through the VC and in front, on the podium, and also behind the screen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Panda, for acknowledging the efforts of all those who have been involved in this event. Once again, I take this opportunity to thank everybody present here, as well as those connected with us virtually who have joined us for this event. All are requested to please join us for a cup of tea in the ICMR